How's it going, guys? Welcome back to episode 5 of the Vancouver Canucks Franchise Mode without Quinn Hughes. And we are entering our second season as the GM of the Vancouver Canucks. Technically our first full season, because at the time we took over at the Quinn Hughes trade, and so we didn't get a full season last year, but this season is our first full season. Now there's a bit of things that we need to catch up on between last episode and now. Alright, editing Canucks land here. I do apologize. I keep forgetting to talk about the rules at the start of the video, so I found this is a good point to talk about the rules here. Here are the rules in case you haven't seen them, you're new to this franchise mode. If you go back and watch episode 1, these rules have been in place. Now, there's 2 times where I've kind of broke the rules, but not really. There was one trade with Lucas Reichel last season where I didn't check if it was not a trade block trade, meaning green and red for the main pieces on both sides. But since it was such a small trade, I let it slide. I do the same thing with a trade in this episode, you will see. But we're just going to not talk about it. We're going to forget about it, right? We're going to forget about it. But without further ado, enjoy the video. I did some things off camera. The only thing that of small note I did was I switched Josh Bloom and Neil Zoman in the AHL lines. Literally, it does not matter. The second thing that I did is I offered contracts to Jonathan Lekkerimäki and to Zeev Boyum. I offered Jonathan Lekkerimäki a 2-year contract worth $3.5 million for a 83-year-old, 22-year-old, 83 overall, 22-year-old, player who's going to be a really high-scoring player, hopefully for us. Still has the high top 6 potential, has about 4 years to grow fully into it. I feel like he's going to be really, really good for us in the future. Currently, he is on the 3rd line, but he can earn 2nd line roles depending on how the game of Andrei Kuzmenko goes, and also if he goes up, I could play him on the 3rd line. Zeev Boyum, who is in our top 4, we don't have 4 top 4 defensemen, so even though he is a top 6 rated defenseman, since he's a medium elite, I'd say he's allowed in the top 4. He would probably play in the top 4 anyway when it comes to literally any situation with the Vancouver Canucks. We offered him a 8-year, $10 million contract with a no-move clause in the last 2 years of the deal. Now, I don't know if he says yes to it because it was about halfway in his contract meter, even though his organizational meter is maxed out. Now, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, I do think he says yes because I am technically offering him more than he is asking for, but he's making less than Kuzmenko, he's making less than Hedl, he's making $500,000 more than Hoglander, and he's already better than 2 of those guys. So it's totally fine. I felt it was totally fine to give him 3.5 because he will grow into the contract and it will eventually still kind of look like a steal for us. It's only 2 years as well. Now, defensively, the thing we're looking at, I did not offer Mancini a contract. I don't remember doing that, so I don't know why that's there. I think it might be a glitch. But defensively, we're looking really good. Tom Wielander, we have 2 more years left of his ELC before it expires, which is awesome. What else do we have? Goaltending-wise, Medvedev, who is in the system, is not old enough to play in the AHL, but he's currently better than Tolopilo. So Kevin Lankinen, it does kind of open up, what do we do with Kevin Lankinen? What do we do with Thatcher Demko? Only a no-movement clause for Kevin Lankinen for 1 more season, whilst Thatcher Demko has 3 years. He's supposed to have a no-movement clause, and I'm going to act like he does have a no-movement clause. But if we really do need to trade Demko, we find a really good trade that we would take for him, I feel like I'll waive it if the situation fits. If we're still not a good team, we could send him to a good spot. I feel like it's totally fine to do that, but I'm not going to do that through the first year of this contract because I feel like he wants to stay a Vancouver Canuck, and even though that doesn't affect this video game at all, in real life he wants to stay, and you need guys who want to stay. Kevin Lankinen is a question mark though. No movement clause this year, so I'm totally fine if this season he doesn't get moved. But maybe next year he moves. It opens up to where he has a 15-team no trade. He's listed as a starting goaltender. After this year, he might be able to waive it at the draft to see if we could trade him, but he most likely will be a trade in either free agency or maybe the trade deadline next year if we're still not a good team. In terms of everything else, that is about it. I will not offer any more contracts to any RFAs because I feel like the rest of them I can go into free agency knowing they're an RFA. I feel like I'll be able to get their deals done pretty cheap. Ogren, if he develops, Ogren's contract might get a little sticky. It might be a little bit more than Lecker-Mackey, but if he develops, I'm fully willing to give him the money he deserves. DPD, don't feel like he's going to go higher than an 80, 81, so it's going to be pretty easy to figure out his contract. Ratu, I kind of think the same thing. Probably maxes out at 80, 81, 82, so it's going to be pretty easy to get his contract done. Lecker-Mackey, Boyum, I don't remember handing Mancini a contract, so I don't know if this is legit or not. If I handed him a contract, we'll see. Those guys will leave for now. Now, UFAs I did put down. We're not going through the trade deadline this episode, but I do want to note our UFAs because I do want to shop them a little bit. Now, the one person I will put an asterisk beside on my whiteboard here is Andrei Kuzmenko, mainly because we got him in free agency, and the reason we got him was morale. I really don't want to trade him immediately. He might stay, and if he does want about the same, maybe a little bit less money than we just gave him, I'll be able to keep him. If anything, I'll let him walk. I don't feel like that's going to be that big of a loss. Malenstein, totally fine if we have to end up moving him at the trade deadline. He has a 16-team no trade clause. He's only making $2.25 million, and it's only a one-year deal, so I can retain the salary, and it won't affect us next year. Tyler Myers as well is a person who I would like to look at potentially trading to open up a spot for Tom Wielander in the top 4 if he develops this season. If Tom Wielander doesn't really develop, I'll probably keep Tyler Myers around, and he either retires, we keep him around for 1 more year as like a depth guy, or we let him test free agency and see what happens. Drew O'Connor as well has a 12-team no trade. So 20-team for Myers, 16-team for Beck Malenstein, and a 12-team for Drew O'Connor. Only making 2.5. I do think it's a little bit too much for an 82 overall, it's not too bad. But I'm willing to listen on offers for him, mainly because he's a depth role. We can get rid of him, and it could bring some guys up who could help grow some overalls, because Linus Karlsson currently isn't in our lineup. David Camp is another one. He's scratched at the moment. I'm having Aatu Ratu in the lineup over him. Honestly, he probably could be better off used on a different team at this moment, and we could call someone else up. We could make that trade. It definitely could happen. It's only $1.3 million. It's not too much, and I'm willing to retain on it yet again. I can retain on 3 contracts this season. Yeah, because we have no salaries retained. We could retain on 3 contracts this season, and it'll be fine, and they'll all expire next season. Last but not least, the person we would probably have to retain on if we want to trade him, Philip Hedl. $4.44 million, no trade clause. Not no trade clause. He doesn't have a trade clause, and it's only for 1 more season. He's a third-line center, so it's not going to be too big of a market. A lot of our UFAs aren't too big of a player. They're not going to drive much in terms of value, but those are guys we could look at to get some picks for the draft. In terms of picks we have at the moment, if we go to proposed trade, I do kind of want to scroll through and just look at those guys' values to see what they look like. We got the top player that we're looking to move potentially is Andrei Kuzmenko. Tyler Myers right behind him. Philip Hedl right behind him. So they have a decent value, probably 3rd-round pick value. Not sure if we're going to be able to get more for them. I feel like Philip Hedl maybe a bit more if his contract was retained on. Let's see who else that we were looking at. Did I pass anybody? O'Connor shortly after them, probably late 3rd, 4th-round pick value. Apologies if I do end up passing. There's Camp and Malenstein. Those guys, low value. Like Malenstein, if we retain, it might get a little bit better, but I do think, honestly, I was looking at like 5th round, 6th round picks for those guys anyway. Anybody else that we looked at, we got through all of them, I think. Yeah, all right, those are all our UFAs, so we don't have to look at that. I do want to stay on that screen, though, because I want to go look at the draft picks that we have. So we have our first round pick this year. We have Columbus' second round pick. We have a third. We have 2 fourths, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. So we have an extra fourth, and we don't have our second, but we have Columbus' second. We don't have an extra first round draft pick. I don't think we're going to be able to get a first round draft pick, if I'm being 100% honest. Next year it's more of the same, extra fourth, but we have all our picks. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a first round pick for this draft unless we trade someone big, but the only people that we trade that are huge have term or have no movement clauses. If we look at our lineup, Jake DeBrusk, no movement clause, Elias Pettersson, no movement clause, Brock Besser, no movement clause. Those are the forwards I'm looking to move. I do not want to move Marco Rossi, 25 years old, high top 6. Maybe he gets up to an 86. He fits our second line perfectly. It would be dumb to get rid of him. Brock Besser, I would understand being able to move him. We have 3 years of no movement clause before we're able to see if we can move him, and I do believe he wants to stay. Jake DeBrusk, I feel like it's the same thing. We have 1 year left of a no movement clause for Jake DeBrusk, so we can open up a potential trade for him. He has 2 15-team no trades, a 1-team no trade, which is pretty funny, and then a 15-team no trade. So I could open up to trading Jake DeBrusk next season, but we'll see. In terms of this season, though, not very likely unless he's willing to waive his no movement at the deadline. Phil Peronic, with how he grew, I don't really want to trade him at all either. If he was still an 86, I would kind of understand it. 2 more years left of a no movement before. I feel like those 1 teams are glitches. 2 years of a no movement, but honestly, I think he, in my mind, has a no movement until we're desperately needing to get rid of him. Marcus Pettersson has 2 years of a no movement as well. Not going to be able to move him. Now, we can technically probably move Demko for a first round pick, but like I said, I do want to keep Thatcher Demko around. Kevin Lankinen, probably not being able to trade him for a first round pick, but maybe a second round pick. I'm not too sure what his value looks like. Retained salary would help out, but it would also kind of hurt us. We have $15 million in cap space this season, though, so I'm not too worried about the cap since we're able to manage it pretty decently and we're not spending to the max. So let's hop in. Let's hop into simming. I've been yapping for probably about 10 minutes, 9 minutes now. Let's hop into the first month of simming. I will see you guys at the end of the month. I'll just skip through. It'll be pretty quickly. We'll slow sim some months, but we're going to go all the way up to March 5th. So we have any games. We'll slow sim the first game, though. Like, we'll actually go through the simulation for the first game, and then we will sim up to, I don't really want to see any of these games, so yeah, we'll go hop into this first game. I do want to see if any of our new guys score, and or who scores. I did not mean to press play game, exit, and we'll hop into sim game. Alright, we are in ×8, first period. Let's see how this team does in the first. 3 goals. Zeev Boyum, Tom Wielander, Elias Pettersson, Dalibor Dvorsky picks up a goal for them. The second period, we get 2 more. 1 more from Zeev Boyum, 1 more from Jake DeBrusk. Boyum upping his price after we just offered him a contract that he's probably going to reject anyway. It's not looking good for us. We get a power play here. I mean, in this game, it's looking great for us, but in terms of trying to get Boyum a contract, 2 goals in the opening game's not going to help. And we're going to be able to hold on, no doubt. They do get 1, but we hold on. Thatcher Demko lets in 2. The 3 stars of the game are Elias Pettersson with a goal, 2 assists, Zeev Boyum with 2 goals, and Thatcher Demko with a .935 save percentage, only allowing 2 on 31 shots. So 29 saves for Demko. That's a nice opening game for us. We'll hop into the sim, and we'll also see what Lekkerimäki and what Zeev Boyum say. So I'll see you when those guys give us feedback on the contract. Alright, so the person I actually thought would reject our offer does accept it. I accept your offer enthusiastically. You put a very generous offer on the table, cash-wise. Thank you. It is an 8-year deal, $10 million. I do think it's worth it. It's kind of pretty like easy to lock up a player at 82 overall medium elite to a contract, but those young defensemen who do show promise do kind of get those contracts. And the only thing I was worried about is video game growth of overall. And the fact that he grew to an 82 in the offseason with me forgetting to give him training, I do think that he's going to have a good growth path, and I'm willing to follow it. And it does not have trade protection until the final 2 years, so we're free to move him if anything goes awry, and we feel like he needs a change of scenery, and we don't want the contract anymore. It's a totally it's not a bad contract at all. Next up, Jonathan Leckernacki is going to accept it enthusiastically. It is a bit of a generous offer. I feel a bit more generous for Jonathan Leckernacki in terms of price over the length of 2 seasons, especially because he's only an 83 overall, but I do think that it is very worth it for me to make that deal. So I'll see you guys at the end of the month. I'm so happy that both of them said yes. Alright, we're at the end of the month. It was pretty quick simming, but we're 9 games into the season. We're 6-3. So we have a good first month of October, which is not usually the Vancouver Canucks forte. Let's hop into Stats Central. We're a winning team. Let's see what's making us a winning team at the moment. Elias Pettersson, 11 points, 3 goals, 8 assists in 9 games. Steve Boyum, 8 points, 5 goals, 3 assists in 9 games. No overall boost, but that's totally expected. Marco Rossi having himself a year as well, with 8 points in 9 games, 2 goals, 6 assists. Niels Hoglander, that's good to see from him, getting up there in points. Jake DeBrusk, Andrei Kuzmenko with 6 points. Besser with 5. Honestly, with how he is in the overall chart with the forwards, you would like to see a little bit more points, but honestly, it's happy to see Rossi and Hoglander up there ahead of him. Tom Wielander, for a 79 overall in the third pair, having 5 points in 9 games is pretty good to start the season. O'Connor as well. Hronek slacking a little bit, but with his overall boost, definitely let it slide. Tyler Myers has 2 goals. Malenstein with 4 points in 9 games. That's nice to see. Jonathan Leckernacki only 3 assists in the first 9 games of the season. That does worry me a little bit, and with Andrei Kuzmenko playing good, this whole third line just doesn't seem to be working out. Are we going to have to look at some line changes? I feel like we're going to have to look in the middle of November to see if we can get some chemistry boost, to see if that could help. The fact that Filipino has... Oh, it's a shooting percentage. I don't know why I was looking at that like a face-off percentage. Yeah, Leckernacki has taken 3 draws in place for Filipino and 1-1. Heedle's got 47%, 50.6% for Jonathan Leckernacki's nice. These guys aren't centers. Marco Rossi, 53% for Rossi. Pettersson does need to get that face-off. So I feel like that's a thing that I should work on with Elias Pettersson in the offseason, is getting his face-offs up, because I feel like if he does start winning more face-offs, when he gets those offensive zone draws, he could start putting up a little bit more points. And it's not like he's slacking in the points category at the moment. Let's sim to the end of the month, but are we going to slow sim? Is there any fun games against, I see the Flames, and I see Toronto and Montreal, and those are always fun games for Canucks fans. So let's go to this Flames game, who are currently 9-1. We'll see what their record is when we reach there. We get a win against Detroit 8-2, and it's going to be a good year for rookies, but it doesn't look like we're going to be picking too high with how this team is playing. We got a loss against Winnipeg, and please lose. A shootout loss against the Los Angeles Kings. Now, I did forget to kind of bring this up, as the Flames have gone 1-3 since the last time we saw their record. Off of this season, if we do good, I will open up a little bit less to trading away some of the more higher up UFAs like Kuzmenko, Myers, O'Connor, Heedle. In terms of Kampf and Malenstein, I feel like those guys would be fine if we got rid of them, especially even Malenstein, because even though we do want those big guys in the playoffs, we have guys like Linus Karlsson who could definitely move into those spots, but I will not buy really heavy. I will not trade our first-round draft pick. I do kind of want to use it, although we had 4 first-round draft picks last season. If I do trade the first-round draft pick and we go on a very deep run, it still would be worth it. I don't think it would be realistic, because I do think our timeline at the moment is I don't think we're ready to be a playoff team right now. So let's hop into this game against the Calgary Flames. Let's see how we do. We're 1-0 in slow sims so far this season. I forget if I did any last season, so we might be 1-0 overall in slow sims. But let's hit the first period here, and it is 1-1. Tom Wielander picking up one, and Connor Zary getting the one for the Flames. Second period. I'm forgetting which button it is. Yes, it's just that one. Okay, I was worried I'd press the button to sim the entire game, because I do that sometimes. No goals, so let's hop into the third. Will the tie be broken? Hopefully by us. If it's by anybody, we're currently beating them in the shot category. We get a power play, which I did not focus on. I don't know if I went to edit the power play. That'd probably be a smart thing to do, unless the power play is doing very good. 4 minutes and 3 minutes to go. Two minutes kind of now. 1 minute. And we're going to go to overtime. We're going to hop into this overtime. I do like watching the overtimes, but the sim's going to be, I know it's going to be really bad, but I'll see you guys in overtime against the Calgary Flames. Alright, we are in overtime. Elias Pettersson's going up against Nazem Kadri on the draw. We're on true broadcast. Kadri wins the draw, sends it to Huberdeau, and Hronik's able to bump him off the puck. Pettersson does beat Kadri to it. Hronik, a little bit of glitch. I guess my computer cannot handle this at the moment. Filip Hronik skating up ice, sends it to Elias Pettersson, to DeBrusk, shot stopped by Wolf. That was a surprisingly... I'm losing my words. Surprisingly, that was a hard save to make for Wolf, is what I was trying to say. As Uyghur enters the zone with his team changing, he decides to dump. He could have sent it back. I don't think there was really anybody behind him. Elias Pettersson, skating into the zone. He kind of has nobody with him, and he gets bumped. That kind of is like what the Canucks overtime is. I was waiting for him to turn around, rank the puck. Zary makes 2 moves, but Hronik's able to steal the puck from him. Besser's on the ice. I think Rossi's going to be coming out pretty soon here. If Elias Pettersson can get to the bench, he is tired. Hronik tries to make a move. Pettersson misses the hit and gets a line change. And Besser picks up the puck, sends it to Lekkerimäki, who joins him on the ice. We don't have a center on the ice. Lekkerimäki dumps it in. Hronik going into chase, but he's tired. Almost wins the battle, but loses it. Besser able to steal. That would have been a break. And now we got a 2-on-1. Brock Besser skating in a shot. Oh, he can't pick up the rebound. Who is this? It's Gavin McKenna. I forgot that Gavin McKenna went to the Flames. Oh my god, we're facing off against the guy who we wanted. Connor Zary gets bumped. Brock Besser, who's tired, he's going to dump it in, isn't he? No, he's going to skate it in, but he's going to kind of lose it in a battle with Uyghur. Coronado. He has Gavin McKenna, but he's tired. Hronik's still on the ice. Can Hronik get a change? Luckily, Gavin McKenna is as tired as Hronik, so we don't have to worry too much. A nice save by Demko off Uyghur. Heedle's out on the ice. Oh, I don't like that. I need to change these overtime lines. Why is Rossi not out there at all? We haven't gotten an injury. Dustin Wolf with 36 saves in the game. Kuzmenko and Heedle. I would totally rather like Rossi and Kuzmenko. Start with like Kuzmenko, Pettersson, then go Besser, Rossi, and then nice save. Ooh, I had to hold my breath there. On nice save by Demko on Huberdeau. What was I saying? I'd probably go Rossi with Besser on the second, with Kuzmenko, Pettersson on the first, and then maybe like DeBrusk and Lekkerimäki. Heedle's got to win this draw. Heedle loses it. Anderson, Huberdeau, stopped by Demko. Heedle picks up the puck. He has Tyler Myers, and I'd rather Tom Wielander out there instead of Tyler Myers, or 3 forwards. Kuzmenko tries to get a shot off, but gets bumped. Here comes Rasmus Anderson. He's got a guy in the middle, but the Canucks are able to force him into dumping the puck, and now they can get a good breakout going if Tyler Myers is able to beat this guy. We got a 2-on-1. 2-on-1 for the Vancouver Canucks. Tyler Myers cuts to the middle, makes it bad. The AI in this game is so bad. I found some sliders. I haven't put them in yet, and I need to do it as soon as possible. As we got a bad battle for the puck. We got an EA NHL battle for the puck. Tyler Myers with another steal. He needs to get off the ice, but he's going to go for one more rush. He's probably going to lose the puck. Yep, that's what I thought. Rossi with a steal. Rossi, oh, stopped by Wolf. Myers gets beat to the puck by Backlund. Now the Flames have a 3-on-0. Oh, Rossi's able to get the back check. Nice save by Demko. He gets run into by Anderson. Should be 2 minutes. Oh my. And I do have it set to 20 minutes, so it's going to be a long overtime. But we like that. It's going to be a long and fun overtime. DeBrusk out there with Marcus Pettersson and Elias Pettersson. Pettersson was the draw. Saved by Demko off Coronado. Coronado, I bet he was looking in front. He wanted to get it to Uyghur. DeBrusk is going to beat Uyghur to the puck. He has a break, but he picks up the puck and loses all his energy. Nice hit by Uyghur. Pettersson in front. Stopped by Wolf. Uyghur picks it up, sends it out to Coronado. Coronado picked by Marcus Pettersson. DeBrusk tries to pass it to Elias Pettersson. It misses. and is picked off by Calgary. Kadri enters the zone, sends it to Weegar, who's wide open. Bad coverage, stopped by Demko on the backhand. Ooh, that was a good sequence. That was a great sequence, except for the DeBrusque pass. I did not like that at all. And a nice save by Demko, who's definitely holding us in overtime at the moment. I feel like they've had the best chances. What a save. Post to post. Demko does not have a good save percentage. 8-1 for Demko this season. And I saw Lankinen had that was earlier this season, but I saw Lankinen had a pretty high save percentage. Rossi out there with Besser. We need him out there for the draw. Loses it. Zary, stopped by Demko. We get another one. The Flames have gotten a lot of those. Win the draw, close chance. Quick chance as well. The quick, close chance. And then do it all over again. Demko has just been sensational this overtime. And that's how he's supposed to be. It's Thatcher Demko. He's supposed to be sensational. I would enjoy it if this wasn't as long as it was. 7 saves in the period for Demko. Rossi needs to win this draw. That's the thing I have noticed. We are losing a lot of faceoffs in this overtime. We lose another one to Gavin McKenna, and there it is. Another quick chance for the Flames, and Connor Zary puts it in. And we end up losing. We end up losing to the Flames. Too many face-off losses. Alright, after that overtime loss to the Flames, we're back in the calendar. Now there's a back-to-back against Toronto and Montreal. I think I'm going to sim up to there and go through those games, because those are fun games. If we do end up going to overtime in any of those, it's going to be a bit of a longer video, which is nice. But we'll see what happens. Nick Seeler, at the moment, I don't think I want to pick up another defenseman. We do have the cap space to take him in. I might make a small move, if anything, to help us, but I won't make any big win now moves if we're in a playoff spot. But I just noticed that we have lost a lot recently. So, yeah, we're down to 18 points. It's not too far out of a playoff spot. A lot of parity so far. Do we have anyone on the leaderboard? That's what I've been trying to check. We don't have anybody on the leaderboard. Thatcher Demko's got his save percentage back up to a 916. Wonder if that was overtime save percentage. I don't think so. Let's hop into this game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's see how we do. Honestly, a loss would be fine. If we could keep losing and we get lower and lower as we go, I don't have to worry about what to do, and I could just stick with the plan I laid out. Ogren scores before I could skip the period. First period, we get another one from O'Connor. They do get one from McCabe. Second period, they tie it up. Mason Michelli. And here we go. 2-2 tie in the third period between the Canucks and the Leafs. Will it break here in the third? It will. Brock Besser. Perfect timing. The Vancouver Canucks take the lead. Can we hold it, though? It is the Maple Leafs. They do have some goal scorers. I could name one especially. Austin Matthews. I'll say his name. He won't appear. And it's Scott Lawton who does anyway. And we're going to go to overtime again against the Leafs. Let's hop into it. I did forget to change the overtime lines, didn't I? But you know what? It did kind of fix itself as the overtime went on. As the Leafs will win the opening face-off. I don't think we've won a face-off. I don't think I've watched us win a face-off. Quick chance for Austin Matthews. Saved by Demko, but then it gets a little bit worse as it gets hit mid-air, and there's a backhand by Matthews. And this overtime was nice and quick as the Leafs pick it up. Oh my. Just not a great season for overtime as the crowd gets very loud. I do apologize. And we'll hop into that game against the Montreal Canadiens. That was very fast. Sim to next game. Let's do it. Let's hop into a game against Jacob Baller and the Montreal Canadiens. First period, 1-0, and it's a shorthanded goal by Struble. The second period, it is 2-2. We get one. Elias Pettersson, we get a power play one. They get another shorthanded goal. What is with these shorthanded goals this game? All right, third period, they get a power play. That's how. I'm more worried when we get a power play now. They got 2 shorthanded goals this game as we're halfway through, and Lane Hudson breaks it. 3-2 for the Montreal Canadiens. Can we get one? Can we get one? Thank God we don't, because we're hoping to tank, and we lose 3-2 to the Montreal Canadiens. At least we don't get the loser point this time, and we could sim to the end of this month. I might sim up to a game if there's a good game next month, maybe against the Oilers. Oh, there's 2 against the Oilers. There's 1 against the Flames. We've already done those guys this season, and I think there'll probably be 1 more before the end of the season. Yeah, there's 1 more before the end of the season. So we'll do this game against the Flames. I apologize. We'll do the game against the Habs this month, and we'll sim up to the game. So I'll see you guys when we're facing the Oilers with hopefully a way worse record. All right, we are here against the Oilers. We're just going to do the first game against the Oilers. Actually, no, since we're doing 2 against the Flames, we'll do both games against the Oilers because those will probably be fun games in real life if that was the way they scheduled it a week after. Oh, because always the Vancouver Canucks and the Oilers always have great games. The points I do kind of want to look at this point before we do hop into the Oilers game because we are about how far away into the season? We're 32 games in, not halfway yet, but we're getting pretty close there. Marco Rossi's at the top, 31 games. Guess I read it wrong. In 31 games, Marco Rossi's got 27 points. So does Elias Pettersson. 12 goals for Rossi, 9 goals Pettersson, 15, 18 respectively. 22 points for Brock Besser, so he is picking up 12 goals, 10 assists. Jake DeBrusk, 17. Kuzmenko, 17. Hoglander, 17. Boyum looks good. He's got 16 points, 5 goals, 11 assists. He's developing quite well. Philip Hronek slacking a little bit comparative to his last season. Only 16 assists on the year. Heedle's got 16 points, which is nice to see. Our centers are up there. Jonathan Lekermacki, he was an 83, so it isn't a jump. 3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points. I do feel like putting him up a line could probably help. Aatu Ratu, only 9 points. I don't expect him to develop too much. Tom Wielander, has he had an overall jump? That's why I'm checking all these guys. I don't know when that specifically happens. 20 or 21 years old. He's got 10 points. That's pretty good for a bottom pair guy. Liam Ogren is struggling, though. And that does suck to see because he is an 82 overall. He is a third line checking for it, so he's fit for the third line. Don't know what's going on there. Marcus Pettersson not having the greatest year. Same with Tyler Myers. Balance 9 isn't getting points. It's also, we don't expect these guys to get a lot of points. We expect him to get some. Mallenstein, I didn't expect him to get points. I honestly brought him in for his physicality. So as long as he's getting hits, fights, that's fine. In terms of hits on the team, Tyler Myers first, Mallenstein second, Jonathan Lekermacki third. Nice to see him going for hits. In terms of fights this season, it looks like 1 for Rossi and 1 for Drew O'Connor. Mallenstein doesn't have 1 yet. Hopefully he picks up a couple. Maybe not too many reasons to fight this year. Let's hop into this game against the Edmonton Oilers. Where first period up against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. How many goals are they going to score this game? First period, we get 1 from Jake DeBrusk. Second period, we get another one. Andrei Kuzmenko on the power play. We get a power play to start the third, but we're not going to be able to capitalize on it. But we get one shortly after. Brock Besser makes it 3-0 against the Oilers. Power play for the Canucks. We don't capitalize. We do have a power play goal this game, so at least it has been effective. And we just need to hold on for a little bit before I could say the word, as whoever was in net, I didn't even check on a shutout. We'll see when we go to the 3 stars. Kevin Lankinen with a shutout. DeBrusk, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 point, and 1-1-1 for Andrei Kuzmenko, who's your 3rd star. And we're going to hop into the game next week against the Oilers. So I'll just sim the next game against the Anaheim Ducks. So that'll make it go a little bit quicker. And I don't want a sim game. I want to advance day. Against the Anaheim Ducks, we pick up a 2-1 win. Thatcher Demko and net against the Pittsburgh Penguins. How will we do? A loss against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So at least we get a loss. Kevin Lankinen back in net against Stuart Skinner of the Edmonton Oilers. I forgot to make that trade happen because that did happen at the same time as Quinn Hughes. First period, they picked one up from Roslovic, but Rossi able to even the score, and I skipped it. Second period, Andrei Kuzmenko picks up the second goal for us yet again, but Brett Kulak gets one. The Oilers are on the board in this game, and let's see who will break the seal in the third. Power play. Was expecting a Draisaitl goal. Shorthanded goal for DP. We'll take that, and we kill off their power play. That is perfect. And it was a longer power play. That did look like a longer power play. It could have just been because the goal. 2 minutes to go here. One more from DPD yet again. Can he get one more? An empty netter from Philip Hronek. It would have been nice if DPD got the empty netter, a natural hat trick for a defenseman. Empty netter from Philip Hronek, a shorthanded goal from DPD. I do want to check. Was there a big penalty, or was it just a couple penalties maybe? Tyler Myers for hook. I think, yeah, it was just a normal penalty. I guess it was the goal that made it seem a little bit longer. 3 stars, DPD, 2 goals, 0 assists, 2 hits. Kevin Lankinen yet again shutting the Oilers down. Marco Rossi gets a goal and an assist. That's nice to see. I do like beating the Oilers as much as I do want to, not get divisional points. It's always fun beating the Oilers, especially because in real life, we ain't beating the Oilers anytime soon. I mean, we might beat them Friday, because you never know what's going to happen. I'll see you guys at the game against the Montreal Canadiens, where hopefully we start losing a little bit more. Well, what I want to take, this Vancouver Canucks team does the opposite, as since the Oilers game, we picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of a possible 11 wins. And now we're second in the Pacific. Now, it is still close. We're up there a little bit on the teams that could eliminate us from playoff contention. But man, what the hell? When I wanted to go into a rebuild, these Vancouver Canucks just won't give up a 9-30 for Demko when he isn't picking up that many wins. Let's see how we do against Jacob Fowler and the Montreal Canadiens. These are always fun games for me. I forget if this is a home or away game, but first period, I don't know why I almost said Jake DeBrusk. Brock Besser picks up one for us. Lane Hudson. Besser was answering for that goal. Second period, they get one. Uri Slavkovsky on the power play. I haven't seen Caulfield, and I haven't seen Suzuki since when we played the Habs. Can we get one? Can we tie it? We're in a playoff spot. Honestly, if we're in a playoff spot, we can ride into the playoffs, and that'd be fine with me. Alex Newhook picks one up, though, and Jake Evans gets one. We get a power play. We're not able to capitalize on a long power play, and we're going to lose 4-1, back down to where I want to be. But we're simming like I don't want us to be simming like we are. All right. Now, I do think I have injuries turned off, and I do apologize. I do want injuries on. But we're going to go with it for the season as I hop in and I see a number, and I like what I'm seeing. Jake DeBrusk, Elias Pettersson, Andrei Kuzmenko. I did forget to look at the chemistry. That's something I wanted to do. I do forget a lot, don't I? Jonathan Lekkerimäki is now a guaranteed second-line forward, 84 overall, which to me is totally fine. The way I look at it, that is a good thing to see. Zeke Boyum up 83. That is nice to see as well. 83 overall medium elite. I feel like he could have a good boost in the offseason. He's definitely having a pretty impressive year. Tom Wielander does get a boost, so it does open up a potential Tyler Myers trade, in my opinion. And also for next season guarantees. I don't think I want Tyler Myers back, at least for next season. So if Tyler Myers doesn't get traded, then I'll just let him go in free agency. Not too big of a deal. The one thing I do want to do, though, is look at our AHL. See if we have potential growth down there. Now, I don't think our defensemen are going to be too heavy on growth, so I will go over to them first. I know for a fact our goaltending's not going to have that big of growth. We got Kudryavtsev, who's still a 77. Minio did go up. He was a 73 at the start of the year. He has high top 6 potential for a defenseman, so he could grow into a good bottom pair guy. But other than that, no real growth. I don't want to go to offense. I actually want to go to scratch first, just to see. Yeah, no real growth, and that's expected because these guys are scratch. Let's go to the forwards. Let's see. So we have Duhaime down here. Mueller and Bain stay at 79. Sasson didn't grow at all. No growth from the AHL, and I'm expecting that they're not doing too great. 16-16, I mean, like, they're not doing too bad. No players in the top for scoring, though. That's definitely for sure. No goaltending wins of the top. I feel like it's evenly split amongst our wins for our goaltenders. No one in assists, no one for goals, no one for points. We don't really have top point producers, but we're doing pretty good. I don't know why I keep saying the same word twice. I do apologize. Um, I think we're going all the way to the deadline. I don't think there's a game that I really want to slow Sam in this little bit here. So there is a game against the Leafs. So maybe we'll go up to that. But I do want to check one thing. And I just want to check the market of those players that those UFAs that I'm talking about. Now, the UFAs I'm going to mark off. Andrei Kuzmenko, I'm going to put X besides him because I do not want to move Andrei Kuzmenko. Filip Chytil, I'm going to put an X beside him at the moment. I will check his market, but unless anything intrigues me, I don't think I'm going to be moving him. Wonder if Belshitz and Lawrence had some growth. It looks like they might have. Tyler Myers, I'm going to put a question mark beside because I'm not quite sure what I want to do with him at the moment because Tom Wielander did grow, but he didn't grow into a spot where I feel like he can replace Myers at the moment, but also at the same time, maybe giving him a little bit more ice time at the end of this season in the top four could help him. Jerome O'Connor, I'm going to put a question mark for as well because that's a guy you would want in the playoffs. Beck Mellenstein, I'm going to do the same thing. David Camp, though, I'm going to put a check mark beside David Camp. No matter his market, I feel like I'm going to move him and bring someone up from the AHL. And it does open up another spot in the AHL for Cataford, who I feel like I need to put in the AHL. Let's see. So the first person on this list that we see, Novotny Kuts, is up to a 77. That's really nice to see. Still 19, so not old enough to play in the AHL, but could definitely see him joining next season, or maybe the NHL next year. Smith's up to a 72. I like our prospect depth. Andrei Kuzmenko's the first one. Now I have a X beside him, but I will see. So I'm going to do find trade open block with Andrei Kuzmenko to see the totality of his market. So a third and a fifth, a prospect and a fifth, a prospect and a fifth, a prospect and a fifth, a fourth and a fourth and Connor Timmins, Sturback, prospect, a second round pick, and Hayes for Chicago. And it's our second round pick back that we gave up for, I think it was what was it? It was the Mikheyev trade. Was Ryan Green deal? I don't know. Fourth and a four. I'm not considering moving him. I just do want to see though what his market. Get Anthony Romani back in a fifth would be funny. Graves, Blomqvist, Ben Sherratt, Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Yeah, so not really too big of a market for Kuzmenko, and that's going to be like the biggest market we'll see. Tyler Myers is another player that I'm willing to just look to see what his market is. And it's probably going to be around the same as Kuzmenko's in terms of value, but we'll see. In terms of teams, not as many trades because he does have that trade clause. Yeah, all playoff teams that would want him. Don't really want to move him in the division. Did not mean to press that button. Is it going to take me? At least it takes me to that screen. Don't want to move him in the division. If we do move him and it is to a playoff team to open up a spot for Wielander, then it's going to be to an Eastern Conference team. But at the moment, a guy like Tyler Myers, the way this team's rolling, even if he is the chaos draft, it's nice to have him in the playoffs because sometimes you can get some good chaos. Filip Chytil. Now I have an X beside him. I don't feel like I'm going to move him, and I'm expecting the same value. This is probably a little boring because it is kind of all the same value for these guys. But yeah, that's what it looks like, just in case I end up making it. So now I know about third and a third value. So we got those guys done. Kuzmenko, Myers, and Chytil. Mellenstein next, but I think we're going to hit O'Connor. Yeah. O'Connor, I have a question mark for, because it does kind of open up a roster spot for someone who is maybe in the AHL right now, or a guy like Linus Karlsson, but also, since we're in a playoff spot, don't really feel like a 6th and a 7th, 7th, so very low. We could get Riley Heidt for him. Like, that's a deal I wouldn't mind making at all. And yeah, like kind of like the lower end of the value for Drew O'Connor to what those other guys were. And I'm assuming it's going to be this. Oh, Allenstein. way down here. I guess is he's not having that great of a year. I'm assuming 6th overall pick, or 6th round pick value. Yeah, about there for Malenstein. David Kampf, it's going to be about the same thing. But we'll see if there even is a market. There's teams willing to offer us 6th round picks for David Kampf. Okay. Vinny Desharnais. So there's a prospect. But we could hit on a 6th or 7th round pick somehow. So we'll open up a potential. So I do kind of want to set my limits in terms of East, preferably. Since it's a guy like Kampf, I don't really worry. And best value. So I'll just put that on the whiteboard so I remember. Best V. So these guys aren't East teams. Oilers aren't an East team. Florida Panthers. So we could get a 7th from the East. Rangers as well. So that nothing beats that off the right. Anything else. The Capitals, we could get a top 9 prospect. And is there one more East team? No, it's the Jets, and they're not Eastern Conference. So I just want to see how old. Top 9. 1 year left. Ludwig Person, 23. 23.75. Top 9. Going to be like a career AHL guy, which David Kampf is kind of on the border of that. It's a more guaranteed look at what we can get for David Kampf. Like, it would kind of probably sit there, to be honest. Press this. So I feel like it's going to be quicker to get to Kampf here than it would be the other way. Honestly, I might move him to the West. I'm taking way too long on this. Best value to the West against a team that's probably not, we're not probably going to see. I'm going to send him to the Dallas Stars for a 6th round pick. So David Kampf off the list of players we need to trade. And although, yeah, we didn't get the best. We got the best. I feel like we got the best value for David Kampf. Even though there's not too much value in trading him. Let's hop over to the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll sim one last game, and then we'll head to the trade deadline. We'll head to the day before the trade deadline, and we'll kind of see what our path is. So I'll see you guys at the Leafs game. All right, we are 2 games away from the trade deadline, and this team continues to play with my emotions and play with my plans, because now they're back down to the last wild card, only 2 points out of potentially getting knocked out of the playoffs. Now, in terms of the Central Division, I'm actually not too worried. We have more points than their 3rd best team does, and their 2nd best team. So I'm going to be more worried about these Vegas Golden Knights eliminating us from the playoffs potentially. It looks like we're probably going to end up with the 16th or 15th overall pick, like the Vancouver Canucks usually do. We do have a chance of missing the playoffs, and I do not want to buy heavy. So honestly, it seems like it's going to be a stay pat deadline, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a completely stay pat deadline. Probably move Malenstein, probably move someone else, but always let me know if you guys think otherwise. But without further ado, let's hop into this game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's wrap this up so that we can talk about what we can do at the trade deadline. First period against the Leafs, we get a goal. Best around the power, boys. Second period against the Leafs, it is still 1-0. Third period, we have held them to under 20 shots, but it doesn't stop Simon Benoit to getting one. We get a power play. It is a bit of a long one, but we aren't able to capitalize, and they get one. And I didn't even see the power play go up. They scored so fast. John Tavares makes it 2-1 for the Leafs. We get a power play again. No, we cannot capitalize on it. They get another one, and they don't capitalize on the power play, but they get one after, as McCabe picks one up. An empty netter from John Tavares, and the Toronto Maple Leafs beat us 4-1. And now we have one more game against the Florida Panthers that we will just advance through. And we're up to the trade deadline. Elias Pettersson, 45 points. Our scoring fell off the map. Did not want a sim game. Yeah, just finished the game. We get a 5-2 win. Ratu, O'Connor. Whoa. Did it not say 5-2? I thought I read 5-2. It's 8-2 win. Okay, we pick up a huge win against them. Advanced day. And now we're at the day before the deadline. All right, so yeah, entirely kind of what I said earlier. My plan, it's probably going to be a bit of a stand pat deadline because we don't have the value to go pick up a first round pick for this season. But we do have some guys we could move and maybe make a small trade to add. I feel like moving out Beck Malenstein or possibly picking up someone who moves Beck Malenstein out of the lineup. Maybe, probably the only thing I'll do. I'm not going to be too heavy on it. I'm not going to give up our first round draft pick. I'm not going to buy in. I'm probably just going to stand pretty pat, but let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you guys think differently. But without further ado, I set a goal to try to hit 500 subscribers by the end of this regular season in real life. And so if you're a Canucks fan and you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. That like button as well. And also let me know in the comments. Leave a comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. The video on your right is the video from Monday. The video on your left is the video from Friday. Subscribes right down under the video from Monday. And I'll see you guys in the next one.